Good morning, parents, and it's Luke Hopper here from LIS, and I am putting together a short video for you regarding assessment and Managebac as a part of our secondary back to school evening. So I'm going to share my screen with you. So a part of our back to school, as you know, you're going to be having different talks from different areas of the school, depending on which part of the school your son or daughter is a part of. So the different programs will be giving you insight into the different programs that we run in middle school, in IGCSE, and also in IB Diploma. What I'm going to talk about is about assessment and Managebac at these levels. Now, at LIS, our mission statement is about providing a high quality, rigorous international education. We want to promote global citizenship. We want our students to celebrate the environment and have an environmental consciousness, as well as be critical thinkers and lifelong learners. And we very much focus that by trying to embrace and develop every student's full potential, make sure that they're independent, critical thinkers, and ultimately help them develop personally in their own pursuits, but also in the service of others. And we very much focus on something called the IB learner profile. And that is how, these are the skills, I suppose, the different attributes that we develop within our learners on a daily basis. And our programs are here to reflect that. So on top of that, our assessment and the way that we teach is very much focused on allowing the students to develop each of these different attributes across our curriculum. So with regards to assessment is kind of split into something that we as teachers call summative and formative assessment. And this you will see when you look at the system on Managebac, you'll see us using this language when we tick the different styles of assessment that we are giving the students. And they're grouped into either formative or summative assessment. Now, summative assessment is the summative evaluation of a student's learning. It's higher stakes. It's about, us finding out really what the students have learned over a collection of lessons or a period of time. Whereas formative assessment contrasts with that, and it's very much about summarizing the students' learning or development at a particular time. And it's continuous, potentially, assessing how a student has understood something, a particular skill at a certain part of the lesson, or if they've remembered something from the previous lesson. That's very much kind of formative assessment. Whereas summative assessment, we're trying to group together and pull together a range of different things that they've learned to really find out how well they're able to deploy the skills that they use, and also to actually showcase what they know and their knowledge, as well as explain, the things that they've learned over that period of time. So it's quite a nice graphic, shows and explains it quite well. And it's the idea that when, a chef is tasting the soup, when they're making the soup, that's the formative kind of style, assessment on the way. Whereas, summative is very much when the guests get to taste the soup, when it goes out of the kitchen and it goes out to a guest table. So ultimately, that means the summative assessment that we run at school has got to be higher stakes, because it's obviously worth much more, and it's the students deserve to be rewarded for showcasing those skills and the higher value and at the higher level. It's varied, so we're not just always running unit tests or exams. We like to use some types in different areas of school. We use projects. We also use reports, it might be presentations. But it's about drawing together, a range of different skills and types of assessments, so students get to showcase the different attributes of the learner profile when they're being assessed. It gives students the opportunity to draw links between their learning. And it shows us what they really know in terms of what they've been taught over a unit of work and how well they've actually understood something as well. And ultimately, from that, it allows us to see how the students and what progress they're actually making in respect of the programs that we run. And we can give a better window, into how that student is performing ongoing. So what we have is we very much developed our assessment model last year, and our assessment scales or our assessment model is very, very similar to last year. It's no different. We've just tweaked a couple of little things, and I'm just going to show you kind of what those are now. So at the DP level, this is using a geography example from the subject I teach. It's exactly the same as it was last year. except the semester exam down here has become a part of the summative assessment. It was always summative assessment, but it used to be given a 40% percentage on its own. Whereas actually now what we do is we include it within all of the summative assessment to simplify what we're doing. So the students understand clearly, what they're doing on a daily basis in terms of their assessment. And they know that their semester exam is going to feed into this chunkier kind of 80% here. And they know that the formative assessment, the work they do ongoing through the year, is going to be, through the term and so on, all the little tasks incrementally is going to be worth 20%. And it allows us to, I think, take some of the stress off that semester exam with it still being valuable and still being really worthwhile and the students really understanding that. And ultimately, this is very much the same if I click through IGCSE. So we've done the same thing. It's the same percentages as last year. Formative assessment is worth 30%. Summative assessment is 70% in total. Again, we've disassociated an individual component of the exam. And what we've done is we've allowed this to all become part of the summative assessment. If we go down to middle school, middle school, exactly the same, except the proportions are the same as they were last year. It's just the fact that we have taken away the individualized exam and we've allowed that to become part of the summative assessment. And what this means, I think, is like I explained, it just really allows the students to understand the value of the summative assessment that they sit ongoing and not just focus on their exam at the end of the term and so on. So it actually gives them the opportunity to perform better continuously through the semester. Now, in terms of Managebac, you guys have all received a video, and I'm going to actually put a link at the end of this video to Managebac, explaining how and why we use it. But just to kind of, simplify and put it into a couple of key points for you guys as parents. We are using this is our main system at school in terms of secondary. This is the only system we use with students. We might use a number of different software programs and platforms to enhance student learning experience. But the thing that we communicate with you, where we put all the students' assessments, where we have their calendar, where their grades go, where we will be providing their reports from, is this system. So as you can see, we have attendance and reporting, we have our gradebook, we have all the resources and lesson materials go on to Managebac. Student work for assessment is where they submit their work. Our unit plans as teachers, we have these our unit plans are there. The use of calendar with students so they can check the class calendar when setting assignments. We are aiming always to minimize assignment overload on specific days. So we do ask staff to check that ongoing. We have a behavior tab, like that's both positive and negative, where we can communicate with you, the parent, about specific things that come up during the day. And, don't expect to necessarily hear from that daily. That's something that kind of is significant. And then the reason it gets used is because it needs to be used on that particular day. We also use it for some forms of parental communication. Teachers will message you through the Managebac platform. And also we use it for our homeroom students in the morning as well. And this is, kind of ties in, so then we're able to pull together our reports at the end of each semester. And this is where, your son or daughter's report will be held, as well as you being able, the parent, to check in and see your son or daughter's grade ongoing. You'll be able to see how they're performing, continuously. So we don't necessarily, you're always there, the grade is always there for you to be able to have a look at in different subjects. I thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, please feel free as always to come back to me, either via email, or you can arrange a time to speak with me on the phone. I will put a link at the end of this video to the Managebac kind of setup video, which goes into more detail about how we are using Managebac. And I really, really am, as you guys know, we're looking forward to so much this year. One, hopefully returning to a sense of some new normalcy and having students back in the classroom, as well as continuing what is a really, really successful online program, at different times if necessary. And I think the students, are really, really benefiting.